The Biden administration reinstated the Remain in Mexico policy. Coming up, what this means for asylum seekers and Arizona.
Plus, how Arizona is helping to support underserved communities in hopes of giving Arizonans a brighter future.
And later on, break it down why so many athletes take the entrepreneurship route after leaving sports.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Lauren Quinlan.
And I'm Carolina Hassett. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday, the Biden administration announced it will reinstate the Trump-era Remain in Mexico policy. The reinstatement of the migrant protection protocols, commonly known as the Remain in Mexico policy, comes after a federal court order from Texas and Missouri. Mexico's agreement with the policy was the final requirement for reinstatement. The protocols mean asylum seekers who reach the border will have to remain in Mexico while they await immigration hearings. Alma Mendoza, a member of Arizona-based nonprofit Esperanza en la Frontera, believes that the policy will further separate families.
They've been waiting for months, years on the border. So many families, they're there. They don't have a steady job. They don't have a place to live. Especially the kids, they don't have a school. So they're I don't know, right now there's probably the families, they're upset to hear this new government order.
The Biden administration says they are still fighting to get rid of the policy, and they say they are looking for a way to end the maneuvers in a way that survives legal scrutiny.
Customs and Border Protection obtained over $700 million to improve its technology, but an audit from a federal agency showed deficiencies with the funds used. Cronkite News reporter Peyton Muse tells us what those deficiencies are and what CBP is doing to solve the problem.
This is the results of the audit here. Here's where they tell us what they found. I spoke with the assistant to the Office of Inspector General, or OIG, who helped conduct the audit. Their job is to conduct independent and objective audits of all federal agencies. This particular audit was conducted in 2019 and 2020. The findings were released February of this year. You've seen the wall. It's the most visual part of border security, but there's a part of the wall you can't see. It's the technology behind U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It's an integral part towards CBP's mission. Technology is used for everything from saving stranded migrants to seizing drugs and scanning agriculture.
Technology is a huge enhancement for the field, so it's more force multiplier.
And according to a federal audit, CBP has received more than $743 million between fiscal years 2017 through 2020 for that force multiplier. However, the audit says only 28% of the technology purchased was deployed. A big reason for this, according to the audit, is shifting priorities, construction delays, and a lack of technology solutions. The Assistant Inspector General for the Department of Homeland Security, KRISTEN Bernard, says that amount of money wasn't enough to buy new and support existing equipment.
As you see in the report, we did confirm during that time they received over $743 million. But yes, you're correct. They did tell us that that was not adequate.
Additional problems found in the audit include obsolete systems and infrastructure with limited capabilities. Assistant Bernard acknowledges that the focus was on new technology.
The infrastructure for a lot of these fixed towers and mobile surveillance systems are aging. So it takes a lot of money to keep up with that infrastructure and then add in the importance of network bandwidth to support all of the surveillance technology.
We asked CBP in October how much of the $743 million in technology at the border was allocated to Arizona. However, CBP hasn't answered that question. This isn't the first time technology has been a challenge for CBP. You know the saying, history repeats itself? Well, we're seeing that here at the U.S.-Mexico border. Back in 2006, under the Bush administration, they launched SBI-NET, which stands for Secure Border Initiative Network, and it wasn't a success, according to the Office of Inspector General. Border Patrol Agent Kevin Hecht says that the Nogales Border Patrol Station is the largest in the country.
We have one of the most technology advanced stations.
Now, this is in comparison to the other border sectors in the nation, according to HECHT. Bernard says it's important to note significant progress has been made and CBP is working on everything that the audit asked.
Is the regrouping, reprioritizing, they've redocumented their plan, and that was one of our recommendations.
Bernard says that CBP will continue to revisit the plan each year to look at needs, costs available, technology, priorities for each year. Again, we have not received an answer from CBP on how much money was put into Arizona's border technology. We will update this story as information becomes available.
Last night, the Senate made a last-minute funding deal avoiding a government shutdown. Some senators almost shut down the government because they wanted to pass a bill that would prevent the Biden administration from using federal money to mandate workplace vaccines. The Senate then voted 69-28 to fund the government at current levels until February 18th. This gives Congress some time to work on passing a longer funding plan that should last the whole fiscal year.
According to the 2019 census, 13.5% of Arizonans live under the poverty line. And for children under 18, 19% live in poverty. Recently, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey announced Arizona will support these communities by investing $1.25 million into mentorship programs for at-risk youth and training for parents of minority families. Cronkite News reporter Alyssa Stoney talks with the two organizations in the Valley that are receiving the money.
Growing up with someone to look up to for advice, questions, and to help solve challenges makes a child's life less intimidating.
Having somebody in my corner that was able to help me in every single stage of my life with the different things that were coming my way definitely helped me plan and prepare.
And this is something Marcus McKinner personally relates to. He was a little brother in the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arizona program. Now he volunteers for the organization in hopes of impacting another child's life like his was.
And I've been matched with my big brother for 12 years until I aged out the program, but our relationship is still strong.
Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arizona pairs an adult mentor with a younger child to help them navigate life and build lifelong connections.
Our mission is fairly simple, but the impact is huge.
The $750,000 to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Arizona will help them support low-income, vulnerable children. And the other $500,000 to Black Mothers Forum will help give parents the support to be strong advocates in their community.
So thankful and excited that Governor Ducey, he's been involved with our program for many, many years and always has been a big supporter.
I really do appreciate Governor Ducey, and I believe that he appreciates the work that we do.
Black Mothers Forum works with schools across Arizona to advocate for the safety and quality of education for Black children in the state. The group focuses on the school-to-prison pipeline in children.
That's where our children face the biggest barriers, is in the discipline area. If we can address what's going on discipline-wise, then they can sit in class and get the education they need.
The organization opened micro schools across the valley as a safe space for Black children to get the education they need if they are not being treated fairly in public schools.
These smaller learning communities are really going to change how our children learn. It will change their ability to feel safe and supported.
The group is hoping to expand training advocacy to more parents across Arizona. In Phoenix, Alyssa Stoney, Cronkite News.
Both organizations say they will continue to make sure every child in Arizona is valued and supported throughout their life, despite any financial hardships.
Last month, anti-Semitic flyers were posted on Arizona State University's Tempe campus, but that doesn't stop the Jewish community from uniting in Hanukkah celebration. Cronkite News reporter Samantha Bird attended the latest Hanukkah event.
Hanukkah is the Jewish 8-day wintertime festival of lights. This Jewish holiday celebrates the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem in the 2nd century BC.
There was a lamp of oil, according to theologic or rabbinic belief, that was only expected to last for one night. It lasted for 8 nights, and so the story of Hanukkah is one of self-determination and preservation of the Jewish faith and the Jewish people.
Jewish students at ASU are coming together this week to celebrate the Festival of Lights. This is the first time Hanukkah celebration events were held on campus in 3 years due to the timing of the Jewish calendar and university schedule.
But I think that everybody, either like secular or religious, does Hanukkah.
ASU gives students many opportunities to come together and rejoice the holiday.
There's a bunch of great Jewish organizations here on campus. Obviously right now we're at CHABAD celebrating Hanukkah, and there's also Hillel and Olami.
The Jewish community at ASU says they will continue to spread light despite the anti-Semitic flyers that were found on campus last month.
We're proud of being Jewish. We're not shy about it. And we show the message of light is that with a little light, you can push away a lot of darkness. Only thing that can sweep away darkness is a little light.
Happy Hanukkah! In Tempe, Samantha Bird, Cronkite News.
ASU students will continue to celebrate the Festival of Lights with pride until the 8th night, Monday, December 6th.
The valley continues to see sunny skies, but when will we start to experience those cooler temperatures? Evan Liss is in the Weather Center with more details.
And before we get to that big pattern change on Tuesday that will help usher in much cooler temperatures, we're going to still have to contend with some record-breaking warmth in different parts of the state, which will help us have a pretty warm, sunny weekend ahead. On Wednesday, oh my goodness, we had to usher in December. We had a high of 85 degrees. That broke our record that we set back in 1949 of 83 degrees. That was December 1st. Then yesterday, we had a high of 84 degrees. That tied our record high back in 2017. The reason for it is this ridge of high pressure here. That's going to start breaking down and moving out to the east before we have some low pressure system activity move into the region this weekend. That'll help to push our temperatures down to the high 70s or so. Not too much in the wave clouds. It'll still be sunny. That is before we have our first larger low pressure system move in at the beginning of next week, and that will bring rain chances to a fair amount of the state and also cooler temperatures as well. But the one you really want to keep your eye on is the second low pressure system towards the end of next week. It's still far out, so models don't have too good of an idea of what's going to happen, but this is going to bring pretty good rain chances from what we see right now to a lot of the state and much cooler temperatures. If you like the 60s as highs, that is going to be your best friend, and that is going to help us push down those temperatures. Again, that first big cool down coming on Tuesday before we have our best shot of rain on Friday. And those 60s, look at that. That's finally right around average. For now, I'm Evan Liss in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
I'm Amna Sapon. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Meet 2 GCU basketball players who went from rivals on the court to teammates.
I was so excited when I learned that I was going to be the next moderator of Washington Week. I was incredibly lucky to be mentored by Gwen Eiffel, and what that gave to me was this confidence that I could be my full self and that I was deserving of whatever spaces I was in.
Welcome to Washington Week.
I also feel this great joy in taking the helm of Washington Week, knowing that I can mold it and make it my own, but also make sure that it is still within the legacy and the tradition that made it so great for all of these years.
Welcome back. I'm Amna Sapon, and here is your Cronkite Sports Report. The Suns broke the franchise record for most wins in a row last night after they beat the Pistons at home. The 18-game win streak will be put on this test tonight when they take on the Warriors on the road. Phoenix beat Golden State 3 days ago, but this time they'll have to do it without Devin Booker, who is still out with a hamstring injury. Newly named Coach of the Month, Monty Williams, is confident his team can keep the streak intact.
We're not satisfied. We talked about, stretching it out, but it takes doing the right things to do that. And we've just taken it one game at a time, but it is special.
Grand Canyon University's men's basketball team has only 3 players who are local to Arizona, but 2 of them have a story that goes farther than just their time at GCU. Cronkite News reporter Talia Massey has their story.
From rivals to teammates, Gabe McLaughlin and Ethan SPRY are both members of the Grand Canyon University men's basketball team. Before that, they both grew up in Arizona, playing against each other in youth basketball.
I don't really remember many other teams, but I remember Ethan's team.
Growing up, Ethan was on the Monsoons, and Gabe, the East Valley Magic.
I remember Ethan would always make me so mad because he's a tough, hard-nosed guy, and so we'd always battle down low, and honestly, it was just fun.
They were competitive the games because they'd be close, but I think Gabe's team won more often than that.
Never in a million years did they think they would end up as college teammates, but life has a weird way of working itself out. Ethan and Gabe both came to GCU at the same time in 2019. Ethan, a freshman, and Gabe, a sophomore transfer from Southeast Missouri State.
I always remembered him. We may have never really talked like that, but we always knew of each other.
Oddly enough, they ended up being roommates their first year as Lopes.
Walk into the room, and then I see him, and we just kind of catch up. We're like, dude, no way. And we talk about all the moments we had during high school, playing each other, even younger when we were super young, maybe 10, 11, 12.
Now in their 3rd season on the team, they are the only local players from Arizona besides Holland Woods. They love to have the support of their family at every game.
But it's that little protection of armor, I can look up to them when I'm frustrated and just be with that little center of peace and calm.
Both Gabe and Ethan's families live within a short distance from campus, which makes it so easy for them to come out and support. But their support for each other is at times all that they need. In Phoenix, Talia Massey, Cronkite News.
And looking ahead to the weekend, Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury announced both Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins will be game-time decisions when they take on the Bears in Chicago. And that does it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Carolina and Lauren.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.